And all companies and all industries are going to be affected with AI. And we need to consider this in real time, because in 2 years from now, 3 years from now, the industries that we have in South Africa are not going to be the same. They're not going to be what they were 10 years ago. It's going to be more, it's going to be faster now. It's going to be probably easier now, but it's replacing those human tasks. And I think we, as AI2U, shouldn't replace those human tasks. I think AI2U should be improving those human tasks. I don't think we should be replacing people. I think we should be improving ways of things that could happen. You're all good? No, I'm all good, my side. I know that we met yesterday, and we had a lot to discuss. I just want to share what I've done so far, and then I think you can also share what you've done so far. These are just the following
Sure.
things we just share here. I think this is more just short and you can see me. There we go. So basically, what I've produced was this AI2U readiness assessment. This is basically where we are seeing if a company is going to be approved for AI. So you can see how the questions, you can score them from 1 to 5, 5 being very yes, 1 to 2 being no. But basically, it's just a few questions that we will sit with our clients with. How well do you know where all your business data is stored? Our clients will tell us there's a certain area that their data has been stored. It's not really been stored, and we're able to score it. Those are the questions, very based on your data in the first 5 questions. And it's going on to speak about all your business processes. Are there any
Sorry, Rob.
repetitive tasks?
I
Yeah.
just lost you for like 2 seconds there. Do you mind just going through? So I just lost you when you were introducing the page again. So this is just the readiness assessment,
Yeah. So
and you're going through the questions again.
yeah. So basically, I was just saying that in this assessment, we're going to assess if the client is AI ready. Basically, just scoring them from a 1 to 5. But basically, we're going to ask him, our client, the question saying, how well do you know where your data has been stored? Client might be able to answer this very truthfully. He might be able to say, this is, my data has been stored in X, Y, and Z. Meanwhile, it might be stored in somewhere else. How digital is your business data? So are they very digital? Is it scattered in the cloud? Where is it sitting? How clean and accurate is your data overall? Is it messy? Is it too much data? Is it a large amount of data that's being flowed everywhere? How clear and documented are your business processes? Do they have a document that speaks to what they have had? So like, are they doing things that we can see are repetitive? And can we fix those things? So that also speaks to 8. How easy is it for someone to take over another person's task? If it's too easy, then we understand that it's not clear. How stable are your processes? How modern and cloud-based are your systems? That we are able to determine if the client is still in the old stage or in the new stage. If he's in the new stage, he's going to be more AI ready. How well do your systems integrate with other platforms? How easily can you export or access your business data? Continuing, how reliable and up-to-date are all your systems? How strong is your basic IT security? Can have password backups, Microsoft authenticators, and all that. Then let's look at more about how their team is, or and their employees. So how comfortable is your team with technology, and so on. So basically, we are able to give them a score from 1 to 5, 1 being very no, like a strong no, 2 almost being no, 3 is being there's some areas to improve, 4 is yes, and strong is yes. So we are able to determine, while we're asking the client the questions, if this is a yes or no, or is he actually AI ready? Basically, we're going to get a subtotal, and in this readiness score, it's going to tell us, okay, client is AI ready. There are some areas to improve. There's a lot of approval that we need to do, and we need to approve mostly a lot of the stuff. If he's not ready, we have to obviously fix things like his systems and fix things that we need to look at. Maybe the data needs to be fixed. Maybe the systems need to be fixed. Maybe there's technology that needs to be trained with the staff and employees, but we can identify that whilst we're in the client. The second document I think we've looked at was this pre-assessment. So basically, us as AI2U, we have to obviously, after we get a prospect and candidate, we're going to look into a pre-assessment role. Basically, this document just speaks to what industry this client is in. Is the client in finance, insurance, medical, IT, mining, manufacturing, logistics, education, legal, and other? Obviously, if other, we have to please specify. Basically, we'll identify basically what the prospect is in. So if he's in finance, then we can move on to the next step. Basically, what does that industry does? What does the industry exist? How does it operate in South Africa? What are their primary customers? What is the economic importance? Very big questions. We are able to do some brain research, do mind maps, research the whole of internet to actually find out what this overall impact is. Then obviously a lot of these industries are backed with a lot of compliance, basically looking at what very strict compliance rules are there. Insurance having FSCA, phase. There's a lot of compliance with the insurance industries. Looking at other operational compliance. This is basically looking at, are there any other compliance that this company might have? So like if you think of auditing standards, so like a lot of companies will have an audit in the annual. A lot of companies might have a 6-month audit. Insurance might have 3 months. So it's just about keeping up to date with that standards of that industry. Then obviously while we're looking at that, we're going to look at how does the industry operate and what are the activities. So like if we had to look at the insurance industry, there are 3 things. There's claim, there's administration, there's policy inception, there's prospecting. There's a lot of those things and activities that happen on a daily basis that we need to look at. Looking at all our procedural structures, what are the different processes and the procedures that happen to take place? Is it very high volume or repetition? So basically, are we able to see all the tasks that might be repeating? So like there's a claim. When a claim comes in, someone's going to phone us. Someone's going to need to get paid out. It will have a tracking code. It will have all those things that put it into factual noise. So it allows us to basically see that there's some sort of target market where we can attack. So maybe it is the claims, maybe it's the administration. Something's happening constantly. Someone's phoning in. It's a process. Technology and systems. So common systems in this industry. Like we spoke about Brisk, they are very used in the insurance industry. There's a lot of other ones. Data environment, how well the data is being stored. Is it being stored in the cloud? Does it have security? Is it very large level of data? Industry performance metrics, looking at different reporting analysis. So basically we are able to identify maybe it's average days, maybe it's profit and loss, maybe it's balance sheets, maybe it's looking at all these different types of things like break even. Whatever the client's industry is, there will probably be a KPI that they mostly want to see. So like Gauge Car Hire wants to look at average days. The insurance companies might want to see claims versus policy inceptions, or claims versus premiums. Measurement cycles, I'm not really sure about that one. Market value proposition. This is basically seeing what the mission of this industry is. So basically, what is their goal that they want to get to the client? So what are they offering? So the insurance companies are offering them cover, security. So if that's a DAR, they have security for their families. If they get disabled, they're going to have security for that matter. Pricing structure, um, we can't really determine this, but I think there's enough research that we can do to determine this. Looking at this, we might be able to see discovery versus momentum or liberty versus discovery, and we're able to see what other premium comparisons are. But pricing structure, I don't think we really need to. Yeah, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I'm back and it looks better now.
Okay, perfect. There you go. Nice to have you back. So yeah,
Sweet.
so what
Yeah.
did you miss?
I know I didn't miss much. It's just it kept on doing this thing where it wanted me to refresh because I was
Okay,
kicked out of
nice.
the recording or something. But I see it's recording
Okay,
now. So.
perfect. Okay, that's perfect. So looking at our industry challenges and pain points, we are able to already assess what their pain points are. So there's enough research that we can also look at. So like there's structural pain points, what's wrong with the structure, there's claims, there's administration, there's all these different factors that we can look at. Also operational pain points, their day-to-day activities, basically what is happening in our day-to-day basis that we could fix, or what are those issues that they have, compared to markets analysis, like I mentioned, looking at maybe discovery versus momentum, discovery versus BrightRock, Sunlum versus Liberty. We are able to also allow us to research on that with their strengths and weaknesses, looking at maybe what BrightRock's doing better than Discovery. Maybe Discovery's doing better things. Maybe BrightRock's doing different things. Maybe Momentum's got a weakness that they have more claims happening that they're not paying out, maybe. And Liberty's paying more claims and Liberty's getting more premiums. So it's all about looking at that different markets analysis, area. Then also looking at almost like we can almost predict. So like where do we think as AI2U can we fix? So almost looking at those opportunities. Maybe we missed opportunities. So maybe we are thinking, let's go for claims. Let's attack the claims side of things. Maybe we want to attack the the banking side. Maybe we want to attack the bank recon side for accounting. Maybe there's a lot of things that we can attack. We're just going to jot those down, saying, okay, well, this is claims. This is what we think we can do here. This is administration. This is what we think we can do here. Also, obviously, when we're doing this research, we need to also look at what are the barriers. Yes, we can automate these things, but there might be barriers that they might be put into place. Maybe it does need people. Maybe it does need certain element of compliance, a lot of compliance that need people to actually deal with the clients. Maybe it's very hard to get an AI to deal with the client, and we're able to identify those issues. And basically, looking at the end of this document is basically looking at, have we looked at everything? Have we ticked all the boxes? Are we ready to see the client? So once we're ready to see the client, we're able to look at pre-meeting questions for the client, which really speaks to that FNA, that needs assessment tool that we built. And basically, we are able to do a very single paragraph summary saying, okay, well, this is what we think we can do. We've identified this industry, we identified the pain points, we identified possible areas that we can improve, possible things that we can do. And we can see systems that need to be fixed. Maybe there's outdated systems. There's a very hectic compliance about it. And we're able to jot down ideas, put them together, and basically put into a summary where we can actually take it to the clients and be ready for that. In that, I also looked at other things like not really out there, but we've identified a few things. AI equity consent. I've just built this form, basically just a form that we can take to our client where he or she is able to sign, basically just agreeing to AI2U to provide this digital intelligence automation AI solutions to their company. Just speak about purpose of agreement, permission and usage rights, intellectual property, data handling and confidentiality, liability and compliance, duration and termination. It's just about being ethical with the client. Client can be able to see this and read it through his own time, and they are able to sign it. Then, following that steps there, we would have to go to a master agreement. This AI2 master agreement is just a contract between us and the client, basically looking at AI2U being their leader in their services. It's obviously speaking a lot about the terms and conditions and the POPI, especially the GDPR and the POPI Act, looking at intellectual property, your SIA agreements, your personal information, confidentiality information, just speaking about the purpose of the agreement, appointment of service provider, term and duration, structure of services, looking at your scope of work, your master service agreement, your service level agreement, your proposal, and zeros, emails, and information communication. Basically, in this document, it just speak a lot about client-specific things that we are able to really just draft towards the client. But I just want to build that as a template for us. Also looking at the SLA agreement, basically this is also between us and the client, just looking at almost the same thing as that master level agreement, is just speaking about what are us operational standards. So basically, in simple terms, if the client wants to see, okay, well, I've got this issue, he's able to go back to the report and say, okay, well, we are, due to this issue, we can only deal with it in 12 hours, or maybe we can deal with it in 2 hours, depending on the complex scenario, or if it's critical, if it's what area of it is. And I think that's really what the client wants to see. Just about keeping honest with him, saying, okay, well, this is what you expect. If you look here, it's about also being reactive support, proactive support, very big terms. Severity 1, critical, severity 2, higher, severity 3, medium, severity 4, low. And each one has their own different severity levels. Okay, I can see severity 1, 4 to 8 hours, severity 2, 8 to 12 hours, severity 3, 3 to 5 days, severity 4, 5 to 10 days. Very basically, if you look at 1, it's a very high risk. If you look at 4, it's a very low risk. And then going on from there, just look at obviously those reports that we need to give out, what they can expect from them, what their responsibilities are, what are their responsibilities, what should AI2U shall do, what covers those third-party dependencies, the escalation procedures, how does it go through our ticket systems, performance reviews and governance, SAA compliance, performance metrics, incident analysis. But this is very focused on what the client actually wants. So maybe we get a different client and he's in the finance industry. Maybe he wants us to maybe produce other activities and other compliance points of view reports termination of the SLA, legal framework, looking at all the necessary compliance and legal entities that we need to consider. And that also speaks to scope of work. Scope of work is basically looking at what are we doing as AI2U for the client. So what project start date, project completion date, AI2 project lead, client project owner, scope of services, automation, artificial development, systems integration, data engineering, dashboards and reporting, consulting and advisory. These are all the services that we offer as AI2U. The client's able to see maybe 5 months time he wants to do a different service. And then that's also just looking at our detailed deliverables, out of scope items, looking at all our things that are not our issues. And also just looking at our project methodology. We discussed this on the board the other day: discovery phase, design phase, build phase, testing phase, deployment phase, stabilization phase, handover phase. That's our steps in providing those services. Going on from there, looking at all our milestones include, so this is what we just discussed in that, it's just at a more very expected dates: acceptance, assumptions, dependencies, client's responsibilities, what is AI2U's responsibilities, the change of control, variations, timelines, fees, scope, resources, governance and reporting, intellectual property, look at the fees and commercial payments, milestones. So obviously in this section, with the milestones, in that pilot phase, we're going to charge them a fee. We're going to charge them 40% of that fee. In milestone 2, we're going to charge them another 40%. And milestone 3, we're going to go 20% and go live. But in this section here, we're going to be able to get that full 100% when we are doing things. Maybe the client wants to pay for the whole system upfront and says, okay, well, I'm happy to go. I don't want your help. I just want you guys to build the system. I just want you guys to implement this, and I'm done. Then it's not going to continue. But if it does continue, we'll get 100% of that fee on a monthly basis as a retainer. Also looking at risk management, very big. Termination of project, looking at all the terminations and what is it that we look at. Signatures and exclusions, very specific. So we just need to get a signature from our clients. Then a big one is this change request. So instead of going back to the client and saying, okay, well, the client is able to look at this document and he's able to say, cool, well, I want to add new things or I want to move things. Now we don't have to go back to stage 1 where we have to do things. We can go to stage maybe 5 and we're able to just provide them with this document. They're able to fill in their stuff. We are able to also fill in what we need to do. But it's basically in 6 months' time, the client is ready for AR or is ready for RPA. We built his system. We built the CRM system. We built something very good for him. It's on track. It's working. We're able to give him or she this document, and they are able to just write what they need to write. We can say reason for change, impact assessment. What is it? Are we adding new work? Are we modifying? Are we replacing any developable? Timeline impact. What's going on with this project? Will it affect? So if we put this into play, will it affect the project that we currently have? Will it affect the systems that we currently put in? And we can just rank that. Cost impact. Is it going to be more costly? If it's going to be very expensive, is it going to increase our monthly fee? Is it going to increase that once-off additional cost? Resource impact. What we need to acquire. So maybe we need to go to these different types of areas where we think it should be sitting. Risk and compliance review. Are we looking at all those risks again? Maybe we Maybe the clients went from insurance to finance. So now he opened a finance business. So now we're able to change that compliance also to a finance business. And we can also look at that compliance point of view. And obviously we need to be approved, and the client approves his side, we approve our side, and all is done for that. Then I just built a little invoice system where we are able to invoice our clients. So when everything's done, we're able to invoice them and give them a necessary detailed analysis of what could be expected. Like, yeah, we can say, okay, well, AI setup, AI automation setup, dashboard integration, AI consulting session, and so on. So yeah, I think it's very nice, because I think what happens is we, us in being South Africa, we have a lot of those compliance interviews, and those documents really speak to how do we, as AI2U, fix those compliance and create that barrier to avoid the uncertainty. And by being ethical with our clients, being transparent, being ethical, we're able to keep those clients within us. I think there's a lot of meat, and I think we need to consider a lot of things that we need to take into control in as AI2U, and be able to say to our clients, this is what you this is what you expect, this is what you should expect. These are our responsibilities, that's your responsibilities. Um, Also in that assessment, we're also able to find areas in improvement. So if the guy is very good and he's very AI ready, but the client isn't, there's a system there that there's things that we could still improve. So maybe he was a 60%. Now 6% is good. It's a pass rate, but there are still areas that we can improve. So it allows us to cross sell to our clients, saying, client, this is what we can do for you, and this is what you are expected to have because you are AI ready. Maybe the guy just needs a system to be improved before he can be AI ready. So if he's a 50%, there's we don't want to take a 50% because maybe there's areas that we still need to improve. We can go to the AI, or before we can go to RPA. And I like that assessment tool because it allows us to have a very truthful, honest discussion with our clients. How can they expect to handle this digital world in South Africa? How can they be able to have these things to be improved to actually stay up with this digital world? I was looking at a podcast earlier about Jeffrey Bezos. He's saying that all these new companies, they all want to be in this AI bubble, but they investors are too scared because they will all want to jump on this wagon, and they all want to jump onto these things. So investors don't know what is the good AR, what's the bad AR, what's the good automation, what's the bad automation. They obviously just want to get return on investments, but they're not seeing that return on investment because most people are doing bad AR. Most people are not doing ethical shit. Maybe they're not doing the right things. Maybe they're not doing. I think the way people do this business in AR is very, very dishonest. I think it's for all just to grab onto this bag of gold, and it's not grabbing. It's just taking gold and not and leaving the bag there. So no one's actually learning from it. And Jeffrey Bezos actually spoke a lot about it, saying that everyone wants to be on this road, but they're not doing the right stuff. And all companies and all industries are going to be affected with AI, and we need to consider this in real time, because in 2 years from now, 3 years from now, the industries that we have in South Africa are not going to be the same. They're not going to be what they were 10 years ago, where it was easy to do things. It's going to be more, it's going to be faster now. It's going to be probably easier now, but it's replacing those human tasks. And I think we, as AI2U, shouldn't replace those human tasks. I think AI2U should be improving those human tasks. I don't think we should be replacing people. I think we should be improving ways of things that could happen. So if we use an insurance, let's don't go out there and replace a whole call center. Let's go replace their systems, their ways of functions. Maybe there is a part where it's overnight, where call-ins come in. Maybe there's weekend call-ins coming in that we can implement AI. But if we're going out there to replace this whole industry and going out there to replace all these work functions and all these humans that we have in South Africa, we're going to affect the way AI is already. And that's why AI's got such a bad name, because they thinking that they're going into this model of revolutions and all these things, but they not doing it right. They are, I don't want to say stuffing up, but they are stuffing up the way things are doing now. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, listen, Rob, I completely agree with you. It is kind of a period for AI now with this bubble where it is like smokes and mirrors, and people aren't being completely honest and upfront. And that is opportunity for us to, be a guiding light in the space, necessarily in terms of educating, upskilling, helping companies realize that they don't necessarily have to replace people with AI, just enable their users with AI. And just secondly, I think great job on all that documentation. You did really awesome work there. There is opportunity for us to fine tune the wording, but I foresee it just templatizing it and digitizing it for it to live on the forms, so it can also pull the or upload the relevant data that it's getting and it's taking away from. Yeah, I think I'd also like to show you what I also got up to. There is some cross pollination between the KYC and the KYB and all those pre-assessment things. But I think once we by the end of the session we should be a little more aligned on what we're doing more necessarily with that. Let me just see
Yeah,
if I
that's
can
perfect. I think you
share
can
my
share.
you can see this board, correct?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen, Rob?
Yeah, I can see your screen. That's perfect.
So yeah, this is essentially the work I did since we last spoke. This is just a holistic view. I also kind of did, the KYC questions just to try help me with the know your business portion of it as well. Yeah, so let me just take you through the whole flow of everything and my understanding. There should be arrows just showing you the flow here, but there isn't anything there for now. On the side here, I just have like the business kind of rules that would be abiding by. So like, when is a discovery needed? When is it not needed? Just like a short rule for it. The type of tools we'll be using in this pillar. Um, when a team interview is necessary, when you can skip the interview, and just other things we need to fine tune for later. In terms of status tracking and ownership of these various steps and the likes. So feel free, Rob, to stop me or question me whenever you like. I do realize there is a bit of
That's
delay,
perfect.
but we should be good. So this is just the client onboarding and the project setup. So this is just for envisioning what happens in the first meeting where we're just trying to understand the client's need at a high level and confirm whether discovery is needed. So this is where we'll be introducing our approach. We'll be clarifying what the problem is, um, identifying the industry. I'm sure that will happen previously as well, as I saw in your pre-assessments. Just understanding the current systems, understanding the team size, the immediate pain points, explaining the next steps and the discovery process, and just booking a discovery session should it be needed. So we'll have a meeting summary, understand the problem and the framing of it, and the business context of the current organization, as well as just the readiness notes. So or after the first meeting or during, I'm not sure where, but we'll be filling up this know your client step where it's also part of the discovery if they want to continue with it. I just highlighted it there with this discovery marker there. Essentially, we just want to understand who the client is at a business level, confirm if they qualify for the discovery, and just collect the information needed in onboarding, continuing the onboarding. So, like, we'll be getting the name, the industry, the team size, the contact details, the goals, the pain points, the systems they're using, the data, where the data is stored, the budgets they're comfortable with, the timeline expectations, the urgencies, who are the decision makers, will score their risk appetite, and also just their familiarity with AI. Once that essentially will just give us the outputs of client profile, um, whether we're continuing with the discovery or not, and just notes for the discovery workshop as well as the know your business um, portion. So the needs analysis essentially just a templatized and a structured version for us to capture their needs, whether it's their business goals, we'll rank their pain points according to, um, in terms of what's according to their business goals, the cases they want to be explored. So if there's something a little more specific, what are the possible outcomes of this journey, the risks or any blockers of us continuing, preferred timelines, any compliance requirements, and availability of the data. So essentially, we'll have a needs analysis done and prioritize problems for us to tackle in terms should they want to proceed, and just to understand their risk appetites, just understanding how aggressive they're willing to be with AI or in terms of tackling the situation or the problem. So this is where we see um, their innovation appetites, their comforts with the automation, with the data migration, should there be need, the security sensitivity, the speed risk accuracy preference. Are they trying to be more accurate than fast or faster than accurate? And just checking again in terms of their budget, comfortability. And out of that, we'll be getting their risk appetite, so we'll be able to rank them and having a shape of where we'll be going in terms of
Is that
solutions.
is the risk
Um,
appetite almost that document that I'd made was the risk assessment, basically.
sure. So that's what I was
Perfect.
saying. There's going to be a lot of cross pollination between that, but I think we essentially have the same idea. But I want the wording to match what you have. I wouldn't want them to, when we go through this in the discovery phase, for them to be shocked by what do you mean risk appetite, you know. So I just want the wording to be
Yeah,
matched and as well templatized for the various industries and the likes like that. And
that's
yeah,
perfect.
so we'll just do an AI assessment just to assess the technical readiness or the technical and organizational readiness for AI, the data quality, availability, what kind of systems they're using, the integration levels, the skill levels they currently have, the infrastructure, and their governance and compliance in terms of the maturity. And we'll be able to rate them out of 10 and recommend certain solutions based on that score. Now, these next two sections are in yellow because they are optional, like you saw on the side. When are we? When do we have to do a know your business kind of situation or interview the team things? This is also a part of the discovery, but it will be um on a needs basis. So should there be a need for it or not? So when you're doing a know your business, it's really to understand the operational processes and the technical dependencies,
Yeah,
essentially just interviewing the stakeholders involved within the certain flows, mapping that out, understanding how it currently works, um, confirming systems that cross pollinate across teams or different silos, identifying manual steps, the repetitive tasks, the compliance sensitive steps, and any bottlenecks essentially in the business and the processes. And from that, you should be able to get, the workflow maps, a list of pain points, system dependencies, as well as stakeholders and any opportunities that we will obviously identify from our expertise or experience, whether it is from that specific industry or just being in that kind of space before. And after that, we have the team interviews process where we are just trying to gather more real experience insights from the people who use these systems daily. So we'll just be asking them about their daily tasks. When things do break down, what are their workarounds? What tools are they using? If they have any history or experience of any common issues that come up, just understanding what metrics mean the most to them, the current reporting structure, and if there are any frustrations that they might have for us to smooth out or soothe. From this, we will be getting transcripts or summaries of our understandings from this process, getting those user insights, and potentially uncovering any bottlenecks. Now, once we move on to that, we just move on to the system review, where it's just getting the landscape of the whole systems and processes they're currently using. So just the whole list. So this could also be, parts of this AI assessment, or as well as the needs analysis. It could be
Yeah.
worded into there, essentially there, or it can be pulled from that. In terms of the systems they're currently using, the the integration capability, the formats they currently have their data, where it's currently stored, the security controls they have, any limitations they might have, as well as the infrastructure and the integrations. And from that, we
Yeah.
should
I
have like
understand.
an architecture snapshot, as well as like integration feasibility in terms of anything that we might be integrating with, as well as any security concerns or considerations that have to be taken place. So from there, we move down here to the data review. So this is just understanding the quality of the data and how it's structured. Essentially, seeing if we can't get any sample of it, any data type checks that we need to install in place, any consistency in the data, anything missing, any duplications, and any limitations in terms that we might have in terms of accessing it. So from this step, we should be able to pull out like a quality rating of the data, any risks and opportunities that we foresee in the data specifically. Proceeding on to the next step, where we'll be looking at any gaps that we have identified, essentially to deliver this project successfully, where we'll be looking for the data gaps, the systems gaps, the process gaps, the people gaps, the compliance gaps, and any management processes gaps that we have. And from there, we'll then be able to determine a prioritized list of this, and we can recommend those gaps accordingly to their budgets or to their businesses, um, to what they need according to our analysis of their business. And from there, once we've identified the gaps, we'll then take this to our internal team, who will then who will validate what we've essentially spoken about with the clients. They will provide us with the technical lead, review the feasibility in terms of it being developed, the architecture review, the scope. They'll help tighten the scope for us, give us those timeline estimation, as well as any risk scoring that might be needed for any of for the process during the journey. From this, we'll get that feasibility rating, the technical direction, the timeline, and the early cost estimates. Moving on from that, we'll then we'll have a draft solution for them according to this that we'll present to the clients, and this is essentially just an opportunity for them to be involved in solutioning as much as possible. Maybe they prioritize something else accordingly different to us, and we can align on that and just have a quick wins automation. So this was the stuff we will present to them, something maybe a little more affordable, just to have quick win option for them, a full system build option for them. a data cleanup option, the dashboard and reporting, pulling the AI capability or the chatbots agents, the automation of the tasks of or any workflow redesign that they might need. So this gives us an option to present to them an options table of pricing, of pros and cons for certain packages, a rough estimate for each package in terms of timelines and just any dependencies for each and every package. So now they start getting a better picture of the options and the solutions that they have. Um, from that solutions drafting, we'll have obviously an idea of the budgeting that falls into there, but this is just a structure for us to have a little more something a little more templatized that we can use. So we already know if they were going to be suggesting the 50 to 150k, 150k to and the likes in terms of the budget band. If in suggesting that, will obviously be able to provide the AI readiness that they'll have, how complex their data in terms of what we've identified needs to be done, in terms of as well the systems, the number of users, their risk appetites, and their blockers that they can expect for this. So this gives us a budget band and assumptions that could influence the price. And moving on to now that we've got the price, we can give the client a more structured proposal, something a little more finalized, um, um, more along the lines of a scope of work to be agreed upon, which will give them, the executive summary, so the problem statements, the use cases, what we discovered during the discovery, the possible solutions we have, the budget band options they have, the timelines, the scope items, the things will be excluded from the different packages, and the next steps. So we'll draft the proposal, and it will be essentially ready for sign off and for them to the ball will essentially be now in their courts. And from that step, you can see the discovery has been complete. Um, should they agree and we get sign off and they give us those SLAs, we'll then create a portal for them. Um, so they can, help manage their profiles, upload any documents, have a place to track and see the reports, view any reports that will be seeing them, any financial invoices, and just having a direct contact or chat opportunity with us. And from there, we'll also have an admin access portal, essentially just for us to help assign those everything in this client portal. And yeah, that's essentially just the one step of it being just the onboarding. Well, the whole thing being broken up into a little diagram for us there, and double
I'm
clicking
actually, I'm
onto
very
our
happy
chat
what you did.
yesterday. Okay, sure.
I see there's a link between those documents I just showed you, and I think there's a link also with what you produced there. So it's like able to see
100%.
where does those documents fit in, and it actually fits in perfectly where
100%.
we actually, yeah,
No, I'm glad that's why I wanted to have these sessions to show us that the work that we are doing separately does come together or align really nicely. Um,
yeah,
for progress here. But essentially, what I also did here was just following up on the conversation in terms of our chatbots in terms of sorry, our I think it was for our but us or booking a meeting. Sorry, tab. So when you click
yeah,
booking a meeting, this is how it will essentially open. It'll have these open to this, giving you these options for you to prompt it into what conversation you're trying to hit into, whether it be for services, academy, or to book a session with us. So this is what happens when you click onto the services path. Um, Once you click the services, it'll prompt you which service you're interested in, and it'll give you these various options. This is not something that's concrete for now. There's just options that I think are related to
yeah,
the service offerings that we have. And once again, this just shows it ties into what you were mentioning in terms of the services, the offering that you mentioned in your documents earlier. So once you've selected what service you're in, it asks you what services you're interested in. And once it knows that, it asks you what industry you're in, prompting you to give us the company size. And once you have that, it gives us, or once we get your company name, it lets you know, it prompts you, or it encourages you to book a session where a calendar link appears, where you can essentially then choose an appropriate time for you.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I
like I said,
think,
it should always
yeah, I
be
think
tying back.
all those different levels will end up at that booking stage at the end of the day.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
That's the time we're trying to get there. And once you click the academy path, it'll ask you what are you interested specifically about the academy, learning materials, news, blogs, digital books, maybe an AI readiness test or an assessment test of sorts. And once you choose that, it'll prompt you once again to help you with learn this. Let's book a session with a calendar link popping up for you to choose an appropriate time. And once you choose the prompt where you would like to book a session with us, it just tries to iron out what you would like to speak about, whether it's a new project, improving your current systems, ideas you might have for AI, or anything else there specifically. Once it has that, it kind of prompts you. They're similar to the services prompts, just asking you your company name, how many employees, and here are the available times that you can book with us. And the final confirmation, essentially, once you book a time for with us, you get a confirmational email. It gets added to our internal calendars, and the pre-assessment form should follow, just to kick off that starts tying back into that pillar one, essentially.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, that's just in terms of the chatbots and the flow there. And these are just the
Okay.
ideas I had for um for the know your clients. So just the basic organization information in terms of what's your company name, industry you're in, how big it is, where you guys based, who will be speaking to, who are the technical stakeholders, the current systems that you guys currently using, what systems are they using, which departments are using them, is there any cross pollination, where does the data live, on cloud, on premise, both, is how do your systems integrate with each other, do you guys have any known limitations with these systems and the integration, the assessments, the data assessment. So this is just us poking a hole into how they keep their data, just understanding what type of data do they collect. Is it stored internally? How clean is it? Or how often do they update? Does it have any duplicates, any missing field, any errors that we should be aware about? And do they have any reporting available for the data or any dashboard that it pulls to? And just to poke holes in terms of their process and their workflows, if they can describe it for us, which workflows are we trying to solve for, um, if they can write down those processes in that where in terms of those flows, what data and spreadsheets does it depend on, is there any unnecessarily bottlenecks or handoffs that they are aware of, and just trying to poke holes in terms of knowing our clients a little more. This once again just speaks to the cross pollination in terms of what you already kind of did, and what I kind of just in terms of thought of, and yeah, in terms of also in terms of like the budget and uh, the scope, just so we can really start understanding the pricing and if there's any compliance or risks that we should be aware of um, going into the project. And this is the kind now just speaking to the assessments in terms of the readiness of or for AI to use. So this is essentially a model where we're just trying to have a templatized or consistent way of evaluating the clients across all the industries, linking scores to the project complexity, and just helping guide pricing and identifying any risks that might come up early. Similar to you, I
Okay.
did come up with like a scoring metrics But mine, instead of being it to 0 to 5, it's just 0 to 3. 0 means that they're completely
Okay,
helpless.
perfect.
1 means that they're a little more advanced. 2 being that they are a little more advanced with a little more systems and processes in place. And 3, this is probably more enterprise level kind of stuff we expect to see.
Okay,
But
perfect.
yeah, essentially, there are 7 factors that we are using to help score this. And I've just broken it down into the 7 factors and just try to flesh out the detail a little more there. So our first factor is just the business problem clarification. So are you how aware are you of your problem? Is it a vague thing where you can't really provide any numbers? Do you have a clear pain point but very little understanding of it? Or you have a clear pain point and you have a vision or a an idea of what success looks like. And
Yeah,
this essentially, what we take from this is that a higher score means that it's easier to scope the risks and in terms of pricing as well. So if we know, if you already know that your pain points is a specific process in HR in terms of onboarding, and this is how it's affecting, this is how you think it could be a better process. We already know that you've done a lot of work for us and you are highly aware. And that kind of thoughts is what I was trying to do in terms of the signaling. Just to at a
okay,
quick glance, you'll know that if there are 3, it's less scope, less scoping for us, probably less likely for a discovery, and the likes like that, interviewing the team, just depending on how detailed um their reporting comes back to us. And another step we'll look into is just how mature their processes are, whether they have some steps identified in their processes, or they've got a few documents but it's fragmented, or if it's all clearly laid out in terms of what's following next. Maybe it's not automated and the likes like that. And just to also see score their data in terms of where they're currently sitting, if it's messy or and it's unstructured, or if there is some structure but it's mixed quality, or it's if they're scoring really well, they're getting clean, accessible, stable data that's constantly being updated for that. And just once again, just if you look at the signal, this just helps us identify the opportunity for automation or AI there. So the higher the score, the more likely we are for us to be pushing that conversation of having those RPA conversations or a agentic AI conversations. Um,
yeah,
and then we're also going to be just be looking at the system maturity. Sorry. Oh yeah. So we'll just be looking at the system maturity in terms of the system they are currently using. Um, if they have any systems or no systems at all, they do have basic systems, but they're not integrated, or they have systems that are, but they're not really integrated, and just the likes of that. So once we have all those scores in terms of the capacity as well, the risk appetite, and the urgency, we'll then bring that all down into an interpreter of ours. After asking them the 7 things, we already know that if they're getting between 0 to 8, that they sit in a space where they're not really ready for AI. There needs to be a discovery to try understand the problem a little more. They're not certain as well in terms of what they're trying to do. They're not really vague in the problem they want us to be solving. And if you look at the medium to 19, I mean 17, the 9 to 17 score, this is where they are medium readiness. The discovery probably is still needed, but it doesn't have to be as extensive. We probably won't be charging them as much, and they'll probably be falling into a normal pricing bandwidth, nothing too extraordinary. And if you look at the 18 to 27 score range, this means that they are really ready for AI to be automated. They already have processes in place. The data is clean. The discovery won't be taking as long, as identifying that problem or those pain points will be much higher. And by tighter cost range, I mean that it will be much harder to milk them for anything because they probably have all those processes in place like that. So looking at those scores, um, in terms of pricing, it can also give us an idea as where it should be. So if we look at this high price, a really well automated company that's really ready to be for us to automate them, they'll be falling into a lower tier where the pricing will be much more predictable, much more um, productized. We can just say you guys just need a chatbot here or an RPA automation here. It's easier for us to solve for because how ready they are and that price range, depending on complexity, obviously. But we can expect for them to be paying. This is our bread and butter essentially. Of in terms of our
Yeah.
clients, the bigger clients that are a little more established, that are coming to us for that annuity purposes. The mid tier,
Yeah.
which is should also be making up our bread and butter, but a little more than the higher tier. This is where we already can figure out that if they already have a score to 9 to 17, they're going to have a more of a problem where it's going to take a little more time for us to solve. A little more resources will be need to be pulled for that. Hence the higher price band for them, and the lower tier where the complexity is high, they don't understand the problem. We can expect, I'm not saying that it's always going to be high price range for them, but we can expect to charge them a little more because we'll be helping them iron out those business flows, helping them get the necessary tools for them, helping them, migrate their data and the likes like that. So that could most likely be a costly exercise. And so already you can see just by doing this whole process, getting this score, we can already see which price band they'll fall in. And this will just let us know that if they have a high readiness score, our discovery is probably going to be shorter than normal, 8 hours. If it's a little longer, we can expect to have a little more. Our discovery might also just be 8 hours, but we can have expect to have a little more of those client engagements for clarity's sake and alignment purposes. And the lower score, you can see it
Yeah.
will also just be a little longer. Not to say that the discovery will be 40 hours long, but just to say that we'll have to have those engagements to help to help identify and solve for that solutioning a little more. So yeah, that was my thinking in terms of a readiness score. Essentially, it factors in um, all these things to get a readiness score,
Yeah.
and with that readiness score, we're able to kind of predict. I just wanted to make it as easy as possible. One day, this will all be automated, and once we have a client, once they go through and they get scored, this all happens by us, hey. So it's not like the client. This is
Yeah. So, so,
not
so
client
so I
facing.
think
It's all
so I think we
happening
can create a good document like I
internally.
did with this, what you've done, and we can add what you've done to that document. Yeah. 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 Okay. No, I do understand. Okay. 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 Perfect. Perfect. That's perfect. I'm happy with what you did. I think we can work around it. I think we have done a lot of work in the past 2 days, and I think we are able to see that there's clear links between each thing, each step. And then also think that we down a minute. Okay, higher back in guys. Yeah, so I just want to tell you guys. So right now we're in the discovery phase. So we are establishing an AI2U an AI automation business based in South Africa. We are a consulting firm that wants to provide solutions to our clients. Well, we see massive opportunities within small to medium enterprises. We're looking at building solutions for their needs. Maybe it's systems, maybe they need systems with AI, maybe they need systems with data, which allows us to involve AI with that. A lot of our clients and a lot of our potential clients we're going to have are in the insurance and finance industry. And we see there's massive opportunity to help them with improving outdated systems, outdated data, very messy data, outdated APIs, lots of workflows all over the place. And we're trying to establish this business to help companies adopt this AI revolution and adopt this AI concern and this uncertainty and all these things that are happening now in our world and in our country, South Africa, that we can help firms adapt to these changes and adapt to what we call the AI bubble, adapt to what might be the new revolution and might be the new way of thinking. And a lot of companies are uncertain and are very scared to have this in place because there's too much noise about it. There's too much people that are ruining the name for AR. Everyone wants to grab onto this bag of gold. And as I mentioned in the podcast, there was a bag of gold that everyone wants to grab onto, but they don't know the realness of how to use it in a real matter. I've sat with a teacher before, and the teacher said all these students do is cheat on the exams, cheat on their tests, cheat on their homework, cheat on their um, speeches, and all this because AI is quick. AI is very quick to do things, but it shouldn't be done that way. It should be used to improve the ways of thinking, to improve the way of doing things. So if I'm taking, let's say, a speech, for example, I shouldn't say, AI, write me a speech on this insurance industry, write me a speech of how to put it into clients. What I should be doing is creating frameworks. Should each step be in the speech? Help me discuss these ideas. To allow my brain to think more actively. If I have to use a work example, let's say I am at work and I have to do this. It allows me to do these things. It allows me to have opportunities also. Azakaya, you back?
Hold on, why can't I hear you now? Just give me 2 seconds.
So all I'm saying is I was very happy what you did. I think we are very aligned with what we want to achieve. I know that we're gonna launch in the next month and so, and I think we have enough meat to actually start building these documents and finding the
Hold
right
on.
people and finding the right skills. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining AI2U and on our journey.